It's a battle of champions. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of Poke Talk, and today's episode of Poke Talk is going to be my review of the latest episode of Pokemon Pocket Monsters 2019, episode 65, Dragon Battle Ash vs. Iris. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, when this episode title was first announced, this was probably my least favorite just because I've kind of never been a big fan of the black and white anime. That being said, Iris being here, also not one of my favorite characters, but I will admit that her Japanese version is a lot more tolerable than the English dub. All that being said, though, this episode blew my expectations away. I really did enjoy this episode. I loved this episode, actually, which is quite surprising coming from a black and white focused. It's one of those weird things where you hated black and white, but yet you come up to here and you see characters return and it's okay. Um, it's weird. That being said, though, everybody, this episode, like I said, and I'm rambling, was actually really great. I loved the episode, but we'll talk about all this soon enough. So, at risk of further rambling, though, let's move on to the actual episode. So, the episode begins with Ash and Go, and they travel to the Unova region, where Ash intends on reuniting with Iris for a battle. And when they arrive in the Unova region, Ash and Go go their separate ways. Go goes on a catching rampage while Ash heads off to find Iris. Well, while Go is out catching Pokemon, he mistakes Iris for a Pokemon, throws a Pokeball at her head, tries to catch her, and she falls out of the tree. And she's like, "Why did you do that for?" And Go apologizes to her, not realizing who this is. And she basically says, "Nah, it's all good." And then she takes off in a rush in typical Iris fashion, like Tarzan. Um, which leaves Go there kind of like, what was that? But then we go back to Ash, who a has arrived at the gym here, the gym that Iris has taken over. And we see him go in there, and Go reunites with them. They go inside, and we see Iris appear. She makes kind of a flashy entrance here with Emolga's help, no less. And Iris's flashy appearance is appropriate because it's at this time Ash and Go realize that she's now the Unova region champion, which is not really surprising considering in the games she was Unova champion, the second one. But still, that's kind of impressive that she went from the Iris we knew in black and white to now. How things have changed, and that's why I also call this the Battle of Champions. Ash being the Alola region champion, Iris being the Unova region champion, and we also learn that Iris is now the strongest dragon type trainer in the Unova region as well, and her gym specializes in dragon types. Kind of goes without saying. And so these two ultimately begin their battle. And Ash and Iris both use their Dragonites at first. Ash recalls his Dragonite for Dracofish, and it's Dracofish that ends up doing in Iris's Dragonite, who's just like, what is that? And Dracofish also does a number on Iris, too. She's fallen in love with this dragon type. She's like, oh, it's so cute, I want it. And yeah, even though it completely annihilates her Dragonite. And so now that her Dragonite is out of the picture, she moves on to her second Pokemon, Haxorus, aka fully evolved Axew. And Iris reveals that now that Axew has fully evolved, it's become her strongest partner, and it does a number on Dracofish. Dracofish loses, and now we're back to Dragonite, Ash's Dragonite. So it's Ash's Dragonite versus Haxorus, and Ash's Dragonite is very nervous, and Iris has to use her abilities to calm down Ash's Dragonite so that it can properly battle. And this is a sight that is astonishing to both Ash, Go, and the audience, quite frankly, that she's mastered this. And so, yeah, now we begin the final battle. Ash's Dragonite finally defeats Haxorus, and Ash defeats Iris to advance in the Pokemon World Championship. And that is pretty much the episode minus Ash and Go departing the Unova region. So, that being said, everybody, back to what I said at the beginning of this episode. I was not expecting this episode to be that great. This episode was a lot better than it had any right to be. I loved this episode. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It really is astonishing how far Iris has come in the short time since Black and White has ended. And yeah, what else can I say other than this was a really great episode? So, as always, everybody, those are my thoughts about this week's episode, and as always, I want to hear yours. So, in the comment section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts? Just let me know in the comment section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.